Is there anything that Kara does that just drives you, like, insane?
Insane. He says it slowly. He says it in English, which is his second language, so he had to pick the word. And out of every available English word for how his wife's drinking makes him feel, he picked insane, which, incidentally, happens to be the most accurate word for how it makes her feel to hear him say it. Marriage is a two-way pipe, and sometimes both ends are leaking.
Why do we gotta be the first ones to go home? I hate being the first people to leave a party. Like when I go out, I'm like having such a good time and I love to talk to people and I'm like having fun and da-da-da.
That right there is how they met. Guillermo Rojer, mid-20s, Venezuelan, bartender at a Dominican Republic all-inclusive resort, yelling tequila time at a bachelorette weekend. Kara Bass, 40s, American, pharmaceutical sales rep, on that bachelorette weekend. She noticed him because he was loud. He noticed her because she had money. They spent the week together. She went home. He kept bartending. She came back. He kept bartending. She came back again. They never really upgraded the frame. The entire relationship is a Tuesday night resort bar encounter that decided to have a child.
Awesome! No one is more obsessed with Kara and Guillermo's age gap than, well, Kara.
Okay. Oh, Kara quiere los niños. Ella quiere, vamos a hacer como...
Now, before Reddit comes for me, let me get ahead of this. The age gap is 6 years. That is not, in the grand scheme of 90-day fiancé age gaps, a huge delta. This is not Angela and Michael. This is not Big Ed and Rose. This is not the geriatric end of the Rolodex stuff the franchise usually trades in. Kara is in her early 40s. Guillermo is in his late 20s. The math is not the problem.
Meanwhile, Guillermo says he was paying for the food, the childcare, the day-to-day necessities, the stuff that actually makes a household run.
The problem is that the math only becomes the math when you zoom out. 6-year age gap, Kara American, Guillermo Venezuelan. The timing is late teens Venezuela, which as a country context means we are talking about a man from one of the worst economic collapses on the hemisphere in the last 50 years. Hyperinflation, food shortages, professional class families making dinner from ration protein. That is not a background detail. That is the operating system of every decision Guillermo has ever made. Reading the relationship without it is like reading a novel and skipping the first chapter.
Working in entertainment, you need that groundedness.
And Kara is not a naif. Kara is a pharmaceutical sales rep. Kara has a job that involves reading people for a living. Kara can tell within 2 minutes whether a doctor is going to prescribe her drug or not. Kara knew what she was buying. Kara also knew what she was offering. She bought a man who made her feel young on a beach. She offered a passport, a house, and an American life. Neither of them are confused about the contract. Reddit keeps acting like somebody here is the victim of somebody else. That is not what's happening. The only victim here is the American narrative that says every marriage has to be primarily about...
I mean, it happened really fast for the two of you. There's a bit of an age difference.
So they get married. The proposal happens on a hike because it's 2021 and every proposal in this decade happens on a hike. They fly back to the States. Guillermo moves in. Kara's American friends are polite. Kara's American family is slightly less polite. There is a specific kind of energy in the room when a woman in her 40s brings home a man in his 20s from a country most of the family cannot find on a map, and that energy is the whole arc of the first season.
It's the morning after our big fight, and although we laid next to each other, we didn't really talk.
And then the show, because the show must be a show, gives us the episode called It's Me or the Bikini. That's an episode title. That is a real episode of 90 Day Fiancé that the network ran with. an entire premium cable hour of American television about a grown man negotiating his wife's swimwear. This is the pivot. This is where the gulf between who we are on vacation and who we are in Virginia starts really opening up. Because on vacation, Kara in a bikini is the point. In Virginia, Kara in a bikini is a problem because Guillermo, raised in a different culture, in a different decade, in a different economy, has different ideas about what a wife wears and who sees it.
I can see her running to the store the next day, buying baby clothes.
And then comes the drinking, because Kara drinks. Not like a cautionary tale, not like Darcy, not like the opening of an intervention episode. Kara drinks like a lot of suburban professional women drink. Wine with dinner, wine with friends, wine on a Saturday, wine at the bachelorette weekend, where all of this started, which, let me remind you, was how they met. Guillermo is alarmed. Guillermo is increasingly alarmed. Guillermo, over a couple of seasons, goes from the drinking is fine to the drinking is a problem to insane, which is our cold open, which is the word he...
When she drinks, is a completely different person.
And here is the thing nobody on Reddit wants to say. Both of these framings are correct. Kara's drinking in American professional woman context is within range. Guillermo's alarm from his cultural baseline is within range. Both of them are right. This is a cross-cultural compatibility issue with real weight, and neither party is villainizable for their priors. The franchise needs a hero and a villain. This couple is not going to give you one. Sorry, take your refund.
By the authority vested in me by the County of Virginia, I do pronounce you husband and wife. And Guillermo, you may kiss your bride.
They got married in July 2021. Small ceremony, backyard, Virginia. Kara's dad giving a speech. Guillermo's family on a video call from Venezuela because most of them could not get travel clearance. And this exact detail is a part of the Kara and Guillermo story that gets skipped in every single reaction video that is not this one. Guillermo's family watched their son get married on a phone screen, a cousin holding a laptop, an uncle crying over FaceTime, a grandmother waving from a kitchen in Caracas. That was the wedding party on Guillermo's side, because of the economy, because of the passport bureaucracy, because of the political situation. And Kara cried during the FaceTime part, which is
Going through sleep deprivation, crying baby, postpartum stuff.
Then, December 2022, their son, Nicolas Antonio, is born. A real baby, real parents, real responsibilities. And this is where the relationship enters what I am going to call the Virginia phase. Because up until the baby, they had been living together in what looked, from the outside, like an extended vacation. The baby ends the vacation. The baby makes them two parents with a mortgage and a second car. And the two parents with a mortgage and a second car are a very different couple than the two adults at the DR pool bar.
You all met on this journey by chance. Today, you become one, and families are united.
The Virginia phase also means the family phase. Guillermo meets Kara's parents. Kara's parents meet Guillermo. Kara's dad is a tall, polite Virginia gentleman who has clearly rehearsed the "I am going to be cool about this" speech in the car on the way to dinner. Guillermo, for his part, is the most charming man in the room because whatever else he is, Guillermo is not awkward. Guillermo reads a dinner table the way Kara reads a pharmaceutical pitch, and within 30 minutes, everyone is laughing. The charm offensive works. It is supposed to work. It is the oldest charm offensive in the franchise. Meet the American family, disarm the dead, make the mom laugh, leave with the keys to the vacation house, and Guillermo runs that play clean.
And how could you be having so much fun when you know your partner is at home with your son distressed about what you're doing?
And the immigration process is its own plot, because Kara and Guillermo are actually doing the immigration paperwork on camera in real time. I-130, I-864, affidavit of support. Kara is the sponsor, which means Kara is financially liable for Guillermo for effectively a decade. That is a real contract. That is a real document. That is a real signature on a real line that binds Kara to the federal government's poverty line math. The show presents this like it's a backdrop. It is not a backdrop. It is the legal architecture that makes this relationship a relationship. Most of the couples on the show do not read those forms carefully. Kara has to.
When Kara was out of town, Guillermo came into the house later than usual.
February 2024, Valentine's week. Guillermo flies to Venezuela alone. Kara stays in Virginia with the baby. The fan tabloids immediately say divorce. TLC doesn't confirm. TLC doesn't deny. TLC leaves a dangling season promo thread worth 6 months of message board speculation. Classic move. And the reason the speculation is so strong is not because the evidence is strong. The reason the speculation is so strong is because everybody watching this show has known from episode 1, this was always going to be the season where the vacation math ran out.
Hey, I will just leave her.
And then comes the sommelier story. September 2024, a wine server at a Virginia restaurant, unsolicited, tells the press that Kara told her she was divorcing Guillermo. The source, one waiter. The receipt, a whispered comment during a wine pour. The Reddit response, of course, called it. The actual response from the couple, silence for 3 weeks, then a vaguely affirming Instagram post. Which is to say, the marriage continues, but the public narrative has already outgrown the marriage.
How many times have you cheated on someone?
The second pivot, I promised you 2, and you get 2. Because here is the thing I think is actually interesting about this couple, and I have not heard anyone else say this. Kara cheated in a previous relationship. This was confessed on camera. Guillermo heard it on camera with the editors pointing at his face for reaction shots. And the thing that didn't happen, the thing the edit wanted to happen, is Guillermo didn't use it. He did not hold it over her. He did not detonate it at the tell-all. He registered it, went ha, and filed it. Which is, again, not what this show is supposed to produce. This show produces gotcha moments. Guillermo produced a shrug. The shrug is the most sophisticated piece of emotional labor anyone on this network has performed in years.
Doesn't mean that I don't love you, that I don't care about you, or that I don't respect you as a father to my son.
And here's what I think Guillermo understands, that the rest of this cast does not. Guillermo understands that if he plays it clean, if he does not detonate, he gets to keep his dignity, his residency, his son, and his marriage. Every single other foreign husband on this show has at some point blown up a storyline for a moment of cathartic screen time. Jovi, a tell-all, Andrea at a family dinner, Mohammed at a wedding. Guillermo, through every single provocation, every producer question designed to bait him into a scene, has chosen the shrug. 4 seasons in, the shrug has held. The shrug is the most disciplined piece of television performance on this franchise, and nobody gives him credit for it because a shrug does not clip well. The walk back, because we need a walk back. I have spent the entire episode insisting that this is the most honest couple on the network. It is also possible, and I want to acknowledge this, that I am wrong, and they are simply the most boring couple on the network, and I am confusing that for honesty. Maybe the reason they don't have a clean villain is that neither of them is generating enough emotional output to create one. Maybe they are just two people who met in a bar, kept the bar energy for a year, had a kid, and ran out of things to pretend about. That is a real reading. I am not sure it's wrong. But even if that reading is right, I think it matters that it's also the reading of an honest relationship. A relationship that has run out of things to pretend about is a relationship that has stopped lying. It may also be a relationship that ends. Those two things are compatible. Kara and Guillermo may very well divorce. If they do, they will not divorce because one of them scammed the other. They will divorce because two people at the pool bar became two people in a suburb, and the pool bar was the part that was working. The ramp. This is the part of the show where you can feel it speeding up, because Kara and Guillermo are ending their arc. The franchise knows it. The franchise will give them one more spin-off, maybe two, and then they will fade out. And some of you will miss them, and some of you will not. And what you will say, if you are paying attention, is that this was the quietest divorce in 90 Day Fiancé history because it was the one where neither party lied.
Knowing the love that Kara has for you and returning it, do you take her this day to be your lawfully wedded wife?
That's Nicolas, their actual kid, in an actual kitchen with actual parents. That shot is 18 seconds long, and it contains more information than the entire rest of the season. In that shot, Guillermo is making breakfast. Kara is handing the kid a spoon. There is no fight. There is no tequila. There is no sommelier. There is no bikini. There is just a family at 8 o'clock on a Tuesday morning doing what families do, which is breakfast. The franchise will not clip that scene. The franchise will not tease it. The franchise will not run it in the promo because the scene contradicts the pitch. The pitch is divorce. The scene is a Tuesday. The bar closed. The bar closed. They went home. If you made it this far, you either love me or you're looking for something to yell about in the comments. Either way, like, subscribe, and tell your sister.